Part 129. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1289. Zhang Xinyuan asked Zhuangjie, do you think Yu Yang is a fool? Of course not, Zhuangjie supported her boyfriend. Then what else do you have to worry about? Zhang Xinyuan smiled. You, restrain yourself a little bit. Zhuangjie fell silent. She understood what Zhang Xinyuan meant. Yu Yang's achievements today are inseparable from his keen observation skills. If his assistant has any malicious intentions towards Zhuangjie, Yu Yang cannot fail to notice. The reason why Zhang Xinyuan made Zhuangjie restrain herself probably refers to her mental illness. Persecution paranoia always subconsciously thinks things are serious and exaggerated. In fact, as far as this incident is concerned, it was nothing more than someone throwing a cockroach into the lunchbox as a prank, and it did not cause any substantial harm to anyone. Compared with the infighting that Zhuangjie saw in the modeling circle before, it was nothing worth mentioning. Young models sometimes fight unreasonably, cutting off catwalk clothes, hiding nails in high heels, mixing disinfectant in lotion, and some people go to Thailand to invite ghosts, which are said to bring bad luck to their competitors. And what she met now was just a dead cockroach. A dead insect would neither harm her physically nor affect her emotionally. Zhuangjie put the matter aside for now and decided to wait and see. As Christmas approaches, the streets are filled with a festive atmosphere, but there is no Christmas during the statutory holidays of the judiciary. Zhuangjie felt that her wish to spend Christmas with Yu Yang would probably come to naught. He is getting busier and busier. By the end of the year, various reports and audit work have been handed down one after another. In addition, there is an endless stream of cases waiting to be dealt with. He works overtime until 9 o'clock almost every day, sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays. Run around the yard. Dating schedules are severely affected. On Friday, the two planned to go to the movies, which meant that Yang finally got off work, and Zhuangjie followed him to the parking lot to pick up the car. After getting into the car, Yu Yang didn't start the car immediately. He pinched the center of his eyebrows, his eyes were deeply tired. Zhuangjie observed his expression, felt that Yu Yang was working hard, and couldn't bear to let him drive back and forth, so she tentatively whispered, otherwise, don't go to the movies, right? Yu Yang raised his eyes to look at her, with a shallow and gentle smile. Originally, I can only accompany you once or twice a week, what if you skip this 1 or 2 times, and you are chased away by others? Zhuangjie pursed her lips and mumbled, I won't be chased away. Yu Yang smiled after hearing this, adjusted his seat, opened his arms and said to Zhuangjie, come here. Zhuangjie leaned over with a blushing face. Yu Yang hugged her lightly, put his lips to her forehead, and said, stay with me for a while, and I'll take you to the movies after I have a rest. Zhuangjie leaned in his arms without moving. After a while, she noticed that Yu Yang's arm around her was slightly relaxed, and his breathing was calm, as if he had fallen asleep. Zhuangjie still didn't move. To be honest, maintaining this position in the car for a long time is uncomfortable, but Zhuangjie didn't want to wake him up, so she kept still. This time, Yu Yang slept for almost 20 minutes, which was equivalent to taking a nap. After he woke up, Zhuangjie discussed with him, actually, you don't have to go to the cinema to watch a movie. There are many people there, parking spaces are hard to find, and it takes a long time to get back and forth. Why don't we go back and watch it? Now the whole network it will be released simultaneously, and you can watch it online with payment. Yu Yang also felt that the commute was wasting time. He started the car and drove away. Zhuangjie couldn't help being stunned, she meant to go back to his office. As long as there is a computer, a place with the internet, and 2 comfortable chairs, it is fully equipped for watching movies. But Yu Yang seemed to have misunderstood, and drove Zhuangjie back to his home. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1290. Yu Yang has an apartment in the city. It is about 15 minutes drive from the procuratorate, and the transportation is convenient. The green environment in the community is very good, and most of the residents are middle class with high income. He lives on the 11th floor. When pressing the elevator button on the 11th floor, Yu Yang said to Zhuangjie jokingly, when buying a house, the 11th floor is not easy to sell, and it is called the first floor of Zhuangshao. Then you still buy it, Zhuangjie said with a smile, aren't you afraid of being single for the rest of your life? At that time, I didn't think there was anything wrong with being single. Yu Yang glanced at her and took her hand, however, I hadn't met you at that time. Zhuangjie pursed her lips and shyly rubbed her forehead on his shoulder, wanting to be coquettish for no reason. The apartment is a large 3-bedroom apartment with an open layout and Scandinavian-style decoration, which is simple, rational, and full of coldness. A typical residence for single men, Zhuangjie is very sure that besides the developers and intermediaries, he should be the second person to set foot here, because Yu Yang's family doesn't even have a spare pair of slippers. The sweeping robot cleans the floor every day, so it won't be very dirty. It's just that in winter, the wooden floor is cold, and it is always inconvenient to walk directly on it. Zhuangjie took Yu Yang's arm and said, the convenience store downstairs should sell slippers. Let's go down and buy a pair. Yu Yang thought about it, changed into his slippers first, and then asked Zhuangjie to take off his boots. Zhuangjie took off her shoes as she said. He picked her up, strode away with his long legs, and walked all the way to the sofa in the living room before putting her down. You don't need to wear slippers. I'll carry you wherever you want to go, Yu Yang said. Zhuangjie gave a soft hum and sat on the sofa with her legs bent, her face blushing, as obedient as a docile little sheep. After that, Yu Yang turned on the TV in the living room, and then took out milk and drinks from the refrigerator, while Zhuangjie took the remote control to study the payment process of synchronous theaters. He didn't have the habit of storing snacks, so he couldn't satisfy her cravings when watching movies, but Zhuangjie felt that nothing was better than now when he turned off the headlights in the living room and stayed quietly by his side in the dark and warm room. When the movie was halfway through, Yu Yang fell asleep. Zhuangjie heard from his assistant that there was a new victim in the previous case of a raptor attacking a passerby. Yu Yang was woken up by a phone call at 1 o'clock in the night, and drove several hours to the murder scene. After learning about the situation, he rushed back to a meeting to study the direction of the investigation, so he hardly had a rest these 2 days. She picked up the remote control and pressed the off button. The screen went dark until it was completely black, but Yu Yang still showed no signs of waking up. Zhuangjie knew that he was fast asleep. She got up lightly, walked into the bedroom by the light of the wall lamp in the entrance, carried a thin quilt out, laid it lightly on Yang, and was about to leave. He walked to the entrance to put on his shoes, but stopped. It's a bit embarrassing to say. But she felt that the sound of the door opening and closing would definitely wake him up, and if he woke up, he would definitely not allow her, a beautiful young girl, to take a taxi back home alone in the middle of the night. How dangerous it is. But he was so tired, how could she be willing to work so hard for him to send her home? With such a subtle mentality, Zhuangjie stayed. It's actually a bit troublesome to stay. Because I came here on a temporary basis today, I didn't prepare any washing utensils, nor did I bring a change of clothes. Even if she took a bath this morning and she was all smelly, she still had to change her clothes before she could go to bed. As for the dress on her, the fabric is expensive, if she gets wrinkled from sleeping, she will hate herself to death. Zhuangjie rummaged through Yang's dressing room, and finally picked out a shirt from a row of neatly organized shirts. Putting on her shirt, she looked at the extremely sexy and enchanting woman in the mirror, and thought to herself, I really didn't intend to seduce you, there is really no other choice. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1291. Yu Yang woke up at 2 o'clock in the night. After all, the sofa is not as comfortable as the bed. He supported his neck to move slightly, and just sat up, the quilt slipped off his body. Yu Yang was slightly stunned, and then realized that it was Zhuangjie who covered him, and the corners of his lips curled up into a smile. I think the little girl is very caring. It's a pity that I couldn't accompany her well today, so I can only find a way to make up for it on Saturday. Thinking so, he twisted his stiff neck, went to the bathroom to rinse briefly, and returned to the bedroom, only to find that there was an extra person on the bed. Women are amazing creatures. No matter what type they are, once they wear a man's shirt, they will show a different style. Especially Zhuangjie's graceful figure, with a pair of long white and soft legs protruding from the hem of the shirt, half covered and half covered under the undulating quilt, it is even more enchanting and alluring. She was sleeping soundly with her body curled up, her hair was disheveled all over the bed, just like Yu Yang's breathing at the moment, so disordered that she couldn't speak. Yu Yang stood by the bed and stared at her for 5 minutes. The dim warm orange light at the head of the bed shone on her snow-white skin, which was glistening and pink, as if coated with a layer of brilliance from an oil painting. It was indescribably radiant and smooth. 2 words came to Yu Yang's mind: fresh and tender. After a while, these 2 words diverged into 4 words: melts in the mouth. Yu Yang thought about it, and felt that the overtime work these few days was exhausting. In order to avoid affecting his performance, the entry matter had to be postponed for the time being. Besides, the little girl seemed to be insecure, and when she was with him, she sometimes showed a feeling of worrying about gains and losses. He reckoned that he would need to get to know her for a while, and wait patiently for her to feel at ease before proceeding to the next step. Yu Yang raised his index finger and gently scratched Zhuangjie's cheek, which was smooth and tender. I thought, I can sleep so at ease, not afraid of being picked up by wolves. No matter how rationally he regulates, he is not a eunuch. Yu Yang sighed and lay down beside Zhuangjie. There was an extra person on the bed, and Zhuangjie was half asleep and half awake. She turned over and encountered a warm and firm body. Opening his eyes, seeing that it was Yu Yang, he subconsciously asked him, "Aren't you on the sofa?" "I didn't make a mistake, why punish me to sleep on the sofa?" Yu Yang asked her back with a smile. Zhuangjie stared blankly at him, as if she couldn't turn her head around, looked at him in a daze for a while, then closed her eyes again, and fell asleep again. "It seems that what I just asked was just a dream." Yu Yang gently hugged her into his arms, looked at the ceiling, and pondered for a long time. When Zhuangjie woke up the next day, she had completely forgotten what happened last night, thinking that Yu Yang had slept on the sofa all night. Yu Yang went out to buy breakfast and came back with a new set of toiletries and slippers. Zhuangjie received it calmly, but there was a huge wave in her heart, wondering if this meant that she could come and live more often in the future. Just as she was guessing, Yu Yang handed a key to her. "Wait for me at home next time. The internet speed at home is faster than in the office, so you won't be stuck watching cartoons." Zhuangjie. After a moment of silence, she said a little aggressively, "I have a lot of things: cosmetics, shower gel, shampoo, and facial masks all have fixed brands, and the bed sheets are only made of long staple cotton and satin fabrics, and pajamas, I..." Before he finished speaking, Yu Yang suddenly put his arms around her waist, bowed his head and kissed her. Their lips and teeth were attached to each other for a long time, and when they let go, Zhuangjie panted slightly, her face flushed. "I don't have any objections to wearing this pajamas." Yu Yang rubbed her body vigorously, fascinated by the touch. Zhuang Jia pursed her lips, wanted to laugh, but was ashamed to let him see, so she simply buried her head and face in his arms. Happiness is dead. I don't bother to think about whether this progress is too fast, my mind is full of, so happy, so happy. At this time, Yu Yang asked her, do you have time for New Year's Day? Come with me home. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1292. Do you have time for New Year's Day? Come with me home. When the man issued such an invitation, Zhuang Jia was convinced that this was the rhythm of meeting the parents, and their relationship was about to take a further step. Apart from sweetness, there is also some uneasiness. Because she knew very little about Yang's family, she had never met his parents, brothers, and sisters, but when Yang sent her home, she occasionally saw Shen Xinru and exchanged polite greetings. Zhuang Jia found Zhang Xinyuan again to discuss countermeasures. The two women got together, turned on the phone map, and researched Yu Yang's hometown, Hu County. It's not too far away. It takes 2.5 hours to drive on the highway, but this place is really small. What is the main source of income? Green agriculture. Zhuang Jia searched for information hesitantly. There seems to be a hot spring villa, which is quite famous. Oh, I see, Hu County is in Xiaofengshan. There is indeed a famous Fengshan hot spring there. Zhang Xinyuan asked her, what does Yu Yang's family do? I'm not ashamed to ask. Zhuang Jia said shyly, I only know that he has one older sister and two older brothers. One of the older brothers is working as a chef in other places, and the others are all in their hometown. Such a big family lives together. Zhang Xinyuan thought for a while, and muttered, could they be farmers? Zhuang Jia puffed up her cheeks unhappily. Zhang Xinyuan hurriedly said, I don't discriminate against farmers. Am I afraid that you will meet a phoenix man? There are many such things in the news. The whole family has worked hard to give away a son who is outstanding, all pointing to his success afterwards. You should be filial to yourself, and after marrying a daughter-in-law, you have to be an ox and a horse together to repay your kindness. You have to be careful not to jump from one fire pit to another fire pit. Zhuang Jia curled her lips and said in a low voice, if he is a real phoenix, it would be worth it for me to jump into the fire pit. Zhang Xinyuan poked her forehead with a smile, don't be ashamed. Finally, he asked her again, have you told your mother about this? Zhuang Jia nodded, my mother is abroad recently, and she is busy planning the New Year's Eve fashion show. I called her and told her. She asked me to prepare gifts and be polite when visiting guests. Oh, Aunt Chen is really big-hearted. Zhang Xinyuan sighed slightly. Then tell me, what gift should I bring to his family? Zhuang Jia asked. Well, the first time we meet, it's so formal, the gift shouldn't be too light. Zhang Xinyuan thought thoughtfully, but it's not appropriate if it's too heavy. The old man doesn't seem to like women who spend money lavishly. Send some special pastries from Qingjiang City, it's safe. Zhang Xinyuan finally suggested. Zhuang Jia was worried, is it reliable? Zhang Xinyuan smiled and said, how do I know whether it's reliable or not? Wang Zilong only has one uncle, and I don't have such sweet troubles as you. Is it sweet? Zhuang Jia rested her chin on her hands and thought silently. Really sweet. Zhuang Jia made a list, including pastry gift boxes, porcelain, tea, nutritional health products and massage equipment. She planned to ask Yu Yang what his family members liked, and then carefully consider what gifts to buy. Called in the past, no one answered. This is not unusual. When Yu Yang is busy, he will not answer the phone, but once he is done, he will definitely call her back as soon as possible. Zhuang Jia was not in a hurry, first packed some of her daily necessities, and then went to Yu Yang's apartment with a shy and sweet heart. Her mother said that when a man lets you into his private space and allows you to change the furnishings, change the sheets or the pillows, you are inside him. While Zhuangjia was tidying up the house, the door outside was opened. She turned around happily, and was about to surprise him, but found that the person outside the door was not Yu Yang. It's his assistant. Good night ZZZ. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1293. Yu Yang has 4 assistants, Hu Fangfang, Tang Linhao, Li Rui, and Song Jingru. The seniority of an assistant usually ranges from 1 to 3 years. Of the 4 assistants in Yu Yang's hands, only Hu Fangfang has been with him for 2 years, and the others are all newcomers who have just been assigned to the courtyard this year. The last time Zhuangjia asked him why he was so tired, Yu Yang half-jokingly said, because there are so many assistants. Having a capable assistant can make his work more efficient, but with a bunch of newcomers, his work efficiency will be greatly reduced, and he has to devote energy and time to teaching and guiding them. Especially now that the end of the year is approaching, Yu Yang is still in charge of the assistant's work assessment, summarizing comments, and trivial paperwork takes up a lot of his time. No wonder he wanted to poach Mu Zi so much to be his assistant. The assistant who opened the door in front of him was called Li Rui. In Yu Yang's evaluation, Li Rui was a somewhat impulsive person. Of course, anyone who compares with Yu Yang will appear impetuous and impulsive. Zhuangjia still remembers that when she was sitting idle in the office, she heard several assistants joking with each other, saying that Li Rui's paperwork was always rough and he had never written an indictment that satisfied Yu Yang, but the advantage was his ability to act. Super strong, good at dealing with the parties. Li Rui obviously didn't expect to meet Zhuangjia, so he froze on the spot. The two were embarrassed for a few seconds, and Li Rui said, Inspector Yu has a temporary mission to go to Hudao town, and he probably won't be able to return in 2 or 3 days, so he gave me the key and asked me to pack some clothes for him and take them there. As if to ease the atmosphere, he said half-jokingly, "Oh, Inspector Yu is a real person, why do you have to let me clean up when you have a girlfriend? Miss Chuang, can you help me to clean up Inspector Yu? Change clothes." What else can Zhuangjia say? She nodded politely and said yes, then went into the room to search for Yu Yang's clothes, acting as a conscientious girlfriend. Yu Yang's living habits are very strict. The sliding door in the dressing room is opened, and the tops, pants, underwear, and socks are all sorted and placed, which is clear at a glance. Zhuangjia packed up her things and suddenly remembered something. She raised her head and asked Li Rui, "If you don't come back in 2 or 3 days, then Christmas." The day after tomorrow is Christmas, and she originally wanted to spend the holiday with him. Li Rui smiled apologetically, "Yes, I'm afraid I won't be able to come back for Christmas." Zhuangjia felt disappointed for a while, but Yu Yang's job was like this, so there was nothing he could do. "Help me take this to him too." Zhuangjia handed a gift bag to Li Rui. Li Rui weighed the gift bag and asked jokingly, "Is this a Christmas present?" The corners of Zhuangjia's mouth curled up, "Well, it's a scarf, for couples." Li Rui laughed and said, "It's such an important thing. Otherwise, Miss Zhuang will go there with me and personally deliver the gift to Inspector Yu. Inspector Yu must be happy." Li Rui's words were exactly what Zhuangjia wanted. Not only did she want to give it to him, but she also wanted to put it on for him. After thinking about it again, Zhuangjia tentatively asked, "You guys are going to work, I'll go, would it be inconvenient?" "What's the inconvenience? It won't take much time to see each other," Li Rui said disapprovingly. "I'll send you there, and then I'll send you back. Don't worry if you gave me a gift. Yu Jianqi is happy to see you, everyone is happy." Well. Zhuangjia was so excited by Li Rui's words that she couldn't help but imagine Yu Yang's expression when he saw her suddenly appear. About every woman has had such an impulse. Without saying hello, she suddenly came to her sweetheart and gave him a pleasant surprise. "Okay, I'll trouble you then. Zhuang Jia picked up her bag and said with a smile. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1294. Zhuang Jia followed Li Rui to Hudao Town. She checked it on her mobile phone. Hudao Town is a town near Qingjiang City. A normal 2-hour drive is enough. However, it has been cold recently and many sections of the road have been covered with snow and ice. The car cannot be driven too fast. I guess it will take a trip. 2.5 hours. When we arrive, we will meet and talk, and then take another 2.5 hours to come back, 5 hours back and forth. I don't know what Yu Yang will think. Anyway, Zhuang Jia has already been moved first. Li Rui drove the car. Instead of going to Hudao Town immediately, he went to Song Jingruo's house first. They picked up Song Jingruo, who was pulling a suitcase, at the gate of the community. Song Jingruo was obviously taken aback when she saw Zhuang Jia in the car. Li Rui explained, Miss Zhuang sent things to Inspector Yu. Song Jingruo was taken aback when she heard the words, and nodded without asking any further questions. After greeting Zhuang Jia, she sat down quietly and took out a stack of documents to look through. Li Rui in front couldn't keep his mouth shut. He chatted with Song Jingruo while driving the car, and asked her, we're only staying for 3 days at most. Why do you bring such a big suitcase? What good things are you packing? Song Jingruo was slightly taken aback when she heard the words, and asked Li Rui, you didn't bring a suitcase? With one hand free, Li Rui patted the school bag on the passenger seat. Here, a bag, it's all inside. Song Jingruo couldn't help frowning. How can I put it down? A change of clothes, toiletries, slippers, a hair dryer, and bed sheets and pillow covers. What? You even brought the sheets, Li Rui exaggeratedly called out. Princess Song, what are you doing? Song Jingruo curled her lips. I don't want to use those dirty old things for sleeping next to me. Li Rui joked, if Hu Fangfang sees your luggage, I think you should call you delicate again. She can talk as much as she likes, Song Jingruo replied coldly. Li Rui realized that he had said something wrong, and hurriedly corrected him. She has that personality, don't be angry, she should become a regular after the new year, and I don't know where she will be assigned by then, and you won't be able to see her in the future. Song Jingruo looked down at the document and ignored Li Rui. Li Rui changed the subject again, and said, Inspector Yu and Tang Linhao should have arrived by now. I don't know if there are any new discoveries. Oh, this case is really strange. Song Jingruo still ignored him. Li Rui made fun of himself, sighed twice, and finally stopped talking, and drove his car honestly. Zhuang Jia observed the two people calmly, and guessed that Li Rui might like Song Jingruo a little bit. As for Song Jingruo, she had a higher vision. With a cold-faced male god like Yu Yang in front of her, she might not look down on Li Rui. Zhuang Jia silently looked away from the corner of her eye. She didn't care about other people's affairs, she just watched the fun. The car drove smoothly on the road, and it took much longer than Zhuang Jia expected, especially after exiting the highway intersection. The road became potholed, and she felt that she was shaking and bumping all the time while sitting in the car. Li Rui, who was driving, was a little sorry. This road is not easy to walk, it should be better ahead. Facts have proved that the road ahead is more difficult. Zhuang Jia was disgusted by the shock, but her physique has been tempered. In the past, in order to shoot a fashion blockbuster, she often followed her mother, models, and a large group of staff to climb mountains and rivers to find scenery. Down. But Song Jingruo couldn't do it. She asked Li Rui to pull over halfway, got out of the car and vomited, feeling extremely embarrassed. Zhuangjia got out of the car, took out a tissue from her bag and handed it to her. Song Jingru glanced at her, hesitated for a moment, and received it. "Thank you. You'd better take a break, or you'll vomit later," Zhuangjia kindly suggested. "No, I brought medicine." Song Jingru took out her suitcase from the rear compartment, opened it to look for medicine. Zhuangjia saw that her suitcase was stuffed to the brim. There was a small bag containing emergency medicine for going out, everything for colds, fevers, diarrhea, motion sickness, and a bottle of sunken multidimensional tablets. "Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1295. After Song Jingru took the medicine, the three of them set off again, with light snow falling halfway. While driving, Li Rui muttered in a low voice, "Don't drive too fast, or the highway will be closed." When he said this, for some reason, Song Jingru turned her head and glanced at Zhuangjia. That look was very strange. Zhuangjia couldn't describe it, it was very complicated. Finally arrived in Hudao town, but Zhuangjia failed to see Yu Yang. The staff who entertained them said that Yu Yang had brought people into the mountain. Zhuangjia looked around, it was snowing lightly, her vision was not very clear, she vaguely saw the outline of the mountain. "It seems very far away." She looked into the distance and muttered. The staff said, "Going further there is a village, and there is no way to arrange accommodation. Although it is a bit troublesome to go back and forth, it is convenient to live in the town." "That's true." Zhuangjia pursed her lips, feeling that Yu Yang's business trip to such a difficult place was really hard work. The local procuratorate arranged for them to live in a dormitory for employees, a 4-person room, and a dormitory with bunk beds. Yu Yang, Tang Linhao, and Li Rui lived in one room, and 2 girls, Hu Fangfang and Song Jingru, lived in the other room. Naturally, the conditions here cannot be compared with those in Xinjiang City, but water and electricity are complete. There is also wireless network, bathroom, and other basic facilities. Zhuangjia looked at the environment here. Sitting in the dormitory with peace of mind was equal to Yang. The dormitory was originally quite clean and tidy. After Li Rui came in, he drank water, rummaged through his bag, changed his shoes here and there, and casually put the towel on the iron railing of the bunk bed. It took only a few minutes. The dormitory environment immediately became chaotic. Zhuangjia felt distressed for a while. "I feel that Yu Yang lives in this place, it's like abuse." She resisted the urge to clean up the room. At this moment, Li Rui propped his hands on the windowsill and said worryingly, "The snow is getting heavier and heavier, how will I send you back later?" Zhuangjia hurriedly said, "Don't bother, there should be a bus here, and I can take the bus back." Li Rui shook his head, "If the expressway is blocked, the bus won't be able to go. Alas, it's over. I came up with a bad idea this time, and I'm sure I'll scold you when I come back." "Can he swear?" Zhuangjia was surprised and opened his eyes slightly. "Of course I will." Li Rui met her gaze, but was stunned, and his voice could not help but choke. Zhuangjia's makeup has always been mature and charming, but her character is not mature and stable at all, but often reveals a naive and lively side. For example, now, a pair of pure eyes stared at Li Rui with curiosity in their ignorance, and a confused expression appeared on his charming and shrewd face. She had no idea how attractive this huge contrast was to men. Li Rui's heart trembled violently. He looked away, coughed twice pretending to be calm, and said, "Of course he can scold people, but he is very particular about prosecuting and scolding people, he will say." Li Rui changed his tone and imitated Yu Yang, "It's a big taboo for a prosecutor to take chances. In this case, you lacked judgment in the way you handled it, lacked understanding of objective conditions, and were impetuous and sloppy. I hope you will return after you go back serious reflection and a deep understanding of the seriousness of the problem." Zhuangjia burst out laughing and couldn't stop laughing. Seeing Zhuangjia's innocent smile, Li Rui couldn't help thinking of his serious and cold boss, and curled his lips. He secretly slandered, he pretended to be so serious, but he was also greedy for beauty. Man, tisk tisk tisk. Voices came from outside the door, accompanied by chaotic footsteps. Li Rui smiled, showing his excitement at watching the excitement. It should be that prosecutor Yu is back. If he sees you, he will be shocked. I don't know if it was because of the crowd. Zhuangjia's heart beat faster and faster, looking forward to it, but also extremely nervous. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1296. Zhuangjia picked up the Christmas gift she had prepared, walked out of the dormitory door, and saw a group of people striding forward from the front of the aisle, with an astonishing momentum. Her heart was beating extremely fast, and her gaze seemed to generate a magnetic force of its own, and it was fixed on the man in the middle of the crowd, unable to move away no matter what. Yu Yang was wearing a long black coat, which was open to reveal the dark suit inside. He had a slender figure and walked like a strong wind. He was handsome and indifferent, with a dignified bearing. Whether it's the assistants beside him or the heroic policeman behind them, they all become foils. Zhuangjia clutched her thumping heart and thought timidly, why is the walking posture so handsome? However, when their eyes met, Yu Yang's eyes suddenly sank. Zhuangjia was slightly taken aback. Before she could say hello, Yu Yang had already walked over in a few steps. His eyes flicked past Zhuangjia, his expression became more solemn and cold. What's going on? He looked at Li Rui who was beside Zhuangjia. With a simple question, no emotion can be heard, but anyone can feel that Yang is very unhappy at the moment. Li Rui was a little dumbfounded. He opened his mouth and became dumb for a moment. Zhuangjia lowered her head in embarrassment, her high mood plummeted just now. She explained in a low voice, I'm here to give you a gift. The gift bag in his hand was clenched a little bit, not knowing whether to hand it to him now. Thinking about running all the way here, my butt was almost swollen because I missed him and cared about him, and it turned out to be such a scene. I felt really wronged. Then I thought about it, people are busy here work. She came running suddenly, it seemed really inappropriate. Is he really mad? The stern face is scary. Zhuangjia was thinking in a mess. No matter how she thought about it, she couldn't bear the grievance, and her eyes gradually turned red. At this time, Yu Yang told his assistants, Lin Hao, you go to dinner with Captain Wang and the others first. Everyone is tired today, and we will have a meeting later. Li Rui, you and Song Jingru are also going to find out about the case. Now progress. The footsteps are far away, and the people around are completely gone. Zhuangjia still lowered her head, staring at the gift bag in her hand. Her shoulders sank, and it was Yu Yang who grabbed her shoulders, led her into the dormitory, and closed the door smoothly. The door slammed, and Zhuangjia felt his heart thump. Didn't you say to give me a gift? What are you doing standing there? Yu Yang asked her funny. Sensing the softness in his tone, Zhuangjia immediately crawled into his arms and excused herself in a low voice, I came here because I was lured by Li Rui, and I'll leave in a while. It won't affect your work of. There is so much snow outside, where are you going to go? Yu Yang asked. Zhuangjia raised her head, and at such a close distance, she realized that there were fine snowflakes scattered on Yu Yang's shoulders and hair. Even closer, his eyelashes are slightly wet. Closer. He bowed his head and kissed her. Tender, slow, affectionate and forceful encroachment. If the entanglement of lips and tongues is a battle, then his attack must be water, which overturns the city without a sound, submerges her heart, and sinks into a drowning-like suffocation. When Zhuangjia could hardly stand, Yu Yang finally let her go. Her brain turned into a mess, and she vaguely heard him ask, tell me, How did Li Rui seduce you? He said, don't worry, I gave you a gift, you are happy to see me, everyone is happy. Yu Yang nodded, well, I'm quite happy. Then you were angry just now. Zhuangjia regained her composure and grumbled. Yu Yang held her hands, put them on his lips, and said with a smile, I'm angry with him. While I'm not around, he abducted my woman to the back country. Can I not be angry? Zhuangjia pursed her lips and laughed, all the knots turned into sweetness. Yu Yang bowed his head and kissed her again, and asked with a smile, miss me? Zhuangjia looked into his eyes, her heart felt numb, and even her toes were flying. I took a look, and the book review area has already been dominated by Yu Yang's fans. It's terrible, this is the treatment that Murong Cheng has never had, and it makes me sad to think about it. I wrote more than 1 million words before I realized that you are so good. Mouth. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1297. Obviously thinking about it so hard that he was about to die, Zhuangjia insisted on not answering. She buried her hot cheeks in his arms, and asked softly, what about you, do you miss me? Yu Yang gave a low laugh and said, think about it. The emotion in Zhuangjia's heart was like the tide of the sea, rising and spreading uncontrollably. She hugged Yu Yang even tighter, and asked softly, have you ever been in love? How? It's okay, Zhuangjia shook her head in his arms, I just think you talked very well. Yu Yang laughed. The two talked for a while in the room, and Yu Yang took Zhuangjia out for dinner. Such remote villages and towns have limited conditions and cannot pursue high-end restaurants such as private restaurants and high-end Japanese food. They found a reasonably well-decorated restaurant nearby, ordered a few home-cooked dishes, and ate at a leisurely pace. It was snowing heavily outside, and there was no sign of it getting smaller. Whether it is icy roads or misty snow and fog, it is a great safety hazard for driving vehicles. Now the expressway has been closed in all likelihood. Stay here today. I'll send someone to take you back tomorrow morning, Yu Yang said. I'll take you to buy toiletries in a while, but you probably won't be able to find the brands you usually use here, so let's make do for one night. Zhuangjia nodded and continued eating. After a while, he showed hesitation, thought for a while, reached out to open his bag, with a dazed expression. What's wrong? Yu Yang asked her. Zhuangjia glanced at him shyly, and said softly, no need to buy, I brought everything. Hearing this, Yu Yang raised his eyebrows and looked at her with a smile, Miss Zhuang, did you come here prepared? Zhuangjia was very embarrassed, and argued, no, I was going to take you to your apartment, but I just met Li Rui, and I left with him before I could put down the things in the bag. Well, I know you want to see me. Yu Yang smiled and reached out to touch her face. Zhuangjia. He explained again, but don't take his car anymore in the future. Li Rui can't drive very steadily, he can't recognize all the signs on the road, and his mental quality is not good in an emergency. Zhuangjia thought, that is, no one can drive as steadily as you. After dinner, Zhuangjia followed Yu Yang to solve the accommodation problem. There are no tourists in the small place, and few outsiders visit. They only found a small and old youth hostel. Go in and look, the environment is worrying. Although the mattress and pillows looked clean, there was a damp, musty smell in the room. There were sloppy men living next door, and when they suddenly saw such a fresh and tender beauty as Zhuangjia, they could hardly move their eyeballs. Both Zhuangjia and Yu Yang's faces were ugly. Living in this kind of place is definitely not enough. Even if Zhuangjia could stand the rough environment, Yu Yang couldn't stand his girlfriend being stared at by a group of hungry dogs. In such a comparison, the environment in the staff dormitory is quite good. It's just that the dormitory has quotas, and there are people living in it. There is no way to open a single room for Zhuangjie. In the end, Zhuangjie can only be arranged to share a dormitory with two assistants, Hu Fangfang and Song Jingru. The dormitory is a four-person room with two bunk beds. Hu Fangfang is very good at life, so she immediately gave up the lower bunk and moved to Song Jingru's upper bunk. Zhuangjie was very sorry, but she really couldn't get used to sleeping on the upper bunk. Thinking about the impact of her trip, she happened to have a bottle of perfume in her bag, so Zhuangjie gave it to Hu Fangfang as a gift. The perfume is Chanel No. 5. Zhuangjie has only used it twice, and it costs more than 1,000 yuan for just 50 ml. This is not the most expensive perfume she has ever used, and it is definitely not bad. It is suitable for gifting. It's just that Hu Fangfang probably didn't understand its value, so she took it in her hand, sprayed it like toilet water, and said thank you with a smile. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 1298. They have meetings late at night. Zhuangjie was playing with her mobile phone alone in the dormitory until the battery of the mobile phone was almost exhausted, and Yu Yang and the others did not come back. Don't want to sleep, but have nothing to do, the only way to pass the time is the phone is dying. Nowadays, the charging cables of many mobile phones are universal, but Zhuangjie didn't want to go through the luggage of Hu Fangfang and Song Jingru, thinking that would be impolite, so after thinking about it, she decided to use Yang's first. She went out with her mobile phone, and next door was the dormitory of Yu Yang, Li Rui, and Tang Linhao. The dormitory door is closed, but not locked. The people who live here are all judicial staff, and most of them are colleagues and acquaintances. There is no problem of thieves and thieves. Unless they are traveling far, few people will seriously lock the lock. Zhuangjie walked into the dormitory, rummaged through Yu Yang's luggage bag, found the charging cable for the mobile phone, and compared it with his own mobile phone. It was indeed usable and he was in a good mood. Just as he was about to leave, he accidentally caught a glimpse of a bottle of Centrum tablets on the table. Zhuangjie was taken aback for a moment. Shankan tablets can supplement various vitamins and minerals for the human body, improve resistance, and make energy energetic. This thing is not a rare thing, but it is not common to carry it with you. Zhuangjie had seen a bottle in Song Jingru's suitcase, and now, there was also a bottle on the table next to Yu Yang's bed. Coincide. But this table is located between two bunk beds, so it's hard to say whether the Shankan film belongs to Yu Yang, Tang Linhao, or Li Rui. Zhuangjie stared at the bottle of Shankan multidimensional tablets for a long time, then turned around and went outside the door to have a look, but still no one came back. She pinched the palm of her hand, which was slightly damp and hot. I said to myself, there is nothing to be nervous about, I just take a look, just look. Zhuangjie spread a paper towel on the table, poured out all the Zincan tablets in the bottle, and counted them carefully. A bottle of 60 capsules, one capsule is not much. This shows that although Song Jingru sent Shankan tablets over, Yu Yang didn't eat them. Did you not plan to eat it, or didn't have time to eat it? Zhuangjie thinks that this question can be studied carefully. She put all the memory tablets back into the bottle, closed the lid, put it back in its original position, took the charging cable and left. When Yu Yang and his party came back from the meeting, it was already 11 o'clock at night. He came to see Zhuangjie, worried that there were two other girls who had to change clothes for bed, so Yu Yang stood at the door of the dormitory and waved to Zhuangjie. Zhuangjie immediately put down his phone, pulled on his slippers, and happily followed him to the dormitory next door. Li Rui and Tang Linhao slipped out to smoke to make room for them. There were only Yang and Zhuangjie left in the dormitory, and Zhuangjie immediately challenged Yang on the issue of saving the film. Where did it come from? Song Jingru brought it here. Why did she give you this? Yu Yang Moran looked at her for a while, with a smile in his eyes. Song Jingru said that everyone has been working hard recently, so eat some good food to strengthen your resistance, so as not to fall ill when you go out. Zhuang Jia pursed her lips, did not speak, but snorted coldly in her heart, if you really can hide your thoughts and give things in the name of caring for everyone, of course Yu Yang will not refuse to accept them. Yu Yang pulled her over, sat on his lap, and asked amusedly, what are you thinking about? I didn't think about anything. Zhuang Jia refused to admit it. Yu Yang teased her on purpose, aren't you worried about someone prying into the corner of the wall? Zhuang Jia's eyes widened immediately. So you know it too. Okay, don't worry about it. He smiled, touched her lips lightly, and said in a low voice, go to sleep, I'll take you back tomorrow. Zhuang Jia was reluctant to part with him, relying on him and refused to get up, whispered half hinting half tentatively, I want to eat shankan tablets. Yu Yang smiled helplessly, picked up shankan on the table, and put it in her hand. Should I be relieved now? Zhuang Jia blinked, bit her lips innocently and looked at him, and pulled the buttons on his chest with her fingers, I also want a pajamas.